Well, hey, folks, this is Bob Bergen. I'm a voice actor. You know me as the voice of Porky Pig. And you're watching the FaceTime with the Todd Wharton, folks.
You ever notice when you're sick, nothing ever goes right?
Yes. Can I get a quart of wonton soup to be delivered? Hello? What do you mean I'll deliver it? Said it's Chinese takeout. You guys suck. Why do they make these medicine bottles so hard to open? Man, this tea tastes like shit. No more. This is perfect. Oh, why can't I fall asleep? I don't have a car warranty. Stop calling me. Why does it smell like nachos? Oh.
Good morning. What's the matter with you?
I feel like shit.
We can fix that. Here, you take 2 of these pills 1/2 hour before eating.
Thank you, Dr. Porky. We'll be right back with Hollywood voice actor Bob Bergen. Welcome back to the show, everyone. So my guest tonight is a 3-time Emmy-nominated Hollywood legendary voice actor. You know him from some of the voices as Porky Pig, Tweety, and so much more. But you know what? Let's take a look at a clip.
What's going on, everybody? It's Bob. Hi, I'm Bob Bergen. You might know me as the Porky Pig for Warner Brothers.
Marvin the Martian from Space Jam.
Tweety the Whale Bunny. That's all, folks.
Please welcome to the show voice actor Bob Bergen.
Great, buddy. How you doing?
I'm good. So, Bob, you've had a legendary career so far, and you have much more to come. Everybody knows you from the voices of Porky Pig, Tweety, Marvin the Martian, and the list goes on. But we can learn all about that online. But let's talk about a lot of the things that you're doing today, because that's more important than anything else, because it's where your career has mounted up to, and all the stuff that you've been doing to give back to the community as well. So why don't we jump right into it for the millennials. You're doing a great thing right now on Instagram, where you're pretty much talking about things that people aren't aware of. And it's more about you giving back with great advice. Let's talk about that. Why did you even decide to do this and really get back to a lot of people that follow you every day?
First of all, I chat with people all day long, answer questions. I listen to demos. I'm always honest. I mean, don't send me your demo for critique if you don't want honesty. Right. And one day, like 2 weeks ago, 4 people asked me the same question. And I was like, I don't have time to answer all 4 right now. So I thought, well, I was in the middle of a session. I was doing a Looney Tunes session. And I thought, I'm just going to do an Instagram video and answer this question. And let's see if anybody cares or sees it, including the 4 people, because I didn't even know if they followed me. Yeah. And lo and behold, people were responding and spreading the word. Hey guys, join this. He's giving free advice. And I went, okay, I'm going to do this every day. And I did, and sometimes more than once a day, because I'm in and out of that booth. Here, I'll show you. If I can show you this real fast. That's my recording studio right there, that booth. And I spent 5 to 8 hours a day. Did I show my dirty office when I did that? That's the danger of doing a live broadcast like this. I know you're editing, but oh my God, did you see my messy desk? So I'm in that booth all day long. And in between sessions or auditions, it really is fun for me to do it. And I'm only doing 1-minute versions because I wanted to limit my time, my commitment. And Todd, it was literally ideas popping into my head, and then push record and do it. And then I started compiling a list of topics. I've got right now over 500 topics that I want to bring into the booth. And I sometimes get inspiration based on what people have asked in the chats, in the comments from previous ones. Today came from what somebody had asked me. Somebody was asking, what do I mean by the word buyer? When I referred to buyers as it pertains to actors. And a buyer is anybody who can hire an actor. Right. So I wanted to do something on buyers versus the word clients, which is a contemporary word for the generation of voiceover. So long-winded answer. I stop me if I talk too much. I tend to talk too much.
No problem.
But That's how that thing started. And I'm just going to keep adding to it as long as people seem to like it.
So out of some of the questions, you just mentioned one. What was the most interesting question that somebody has asked you that you want to talk about? Because I'm sure you get some weird questions that people ask you that doesn't even make sense. Just today, ask you a question. Is this something that really hit home with you that you wish you knew coming into being a voice actor as well?
Well, that's a great question right there, my friend. I haven't had anything weird. What surprises me are questions that I get when the answers are on the machine that they're asking the question of. I didn't have the internet. I didn't have a computer. I used to pick up the phone. I used to crash recording sessions.
Wow.
I used to pretend to be a producer and call agents and get their demos, their clients' demos, their actors' demos, so I could listen to what demos sounded like. I was 15 years old. So there's no reason not to know the answer to some of these questions.
Yeah.
If you just do a little surfing, top voiceover agents, New York, top voiceover agents, Los Angeles, you're going to see SBV, CESD, Atlas Talent, DPN, Buckwald, just the same names over and over again. Go to their websites, listen to their actors' demos, cross-reference them on IMDb.
Yeah.
You don't have to be a genius to know how to do this. But I get questions like, I don't even know where to begin.
Yeah.
Surf, how to begin in voiceover. It's right there. So it just that's what surprises me the most is there's no reason to not have the answer to some of these questions with the information superhighway. The problem is that beginners are going to other beginners for their education. I was taught, go to the people who have the career that you want to get the career that you want.
Wow.
I didn't ask my fellow students, in my weekly voiceover classes or my improv classes, do once I'm ready to pursue. I asked the people who are already making a great living at this, how'd you do it?
Yeah. Yeah. And I like the way you say that. Speaking of voiceovers, which obviously it's what you do. I think anybody can be a voiceover actor. It has to do with, do you want to do it? And it has to do with the voice. Are you passionate about it? Because voices, everybody's got different voices. Can they build a character off that? Now, obviously, you took on some great roles of some iconic characters from Mel Blanc. Are there characters that you have created that you one day want to build an episode around, like a full range of characters? You already have some, but I'm talking some that are in the vault that you may want to bring out that's very passionate to you, because that character could be a family member of yours or a best friend. Is there a character that's just sitting there that you're planning on taking out of the vault and be like, you know what, I can build a show around this character?
Well, I wouldn't build a show around it because I'm not a showrunner. I'm not a producer.
Right.
But I audition every day of my life. Before we started today, I was doing my auditions that are due tomorrow morning. Yeah, you've got a wheelhouse. You've got this mental Rolodex of references. And you're absolutely right. You draw from teachers' pad. You draw from family members. Your lousy impression of Bill Clinton combined with the specs and the personality of the script, of the intent, is the perfect marriage of a brand new character. Now, I do stuff all the time that people don't me because they don't look at the credits, or I'm doing this. You mentioned earlier the show for Disney Plus called The Bad Batch, where I play a villain, and most people are used to hearing Looney Tunes and wacky zany, and they hear this very dry, very cold and calculating sort of villain. They're not used to hearing that come from me. And I get so many, oh my God, I saw the credits. I'm so surprised that's you. There's a lot of that that people don't even know. So the long-winded answer to this question is there's always, I'm a creative person. There's always that next thing that I'm dying to do. I just don't know where or when that's going to be.
Yeah, and you want to know something? I was talking with Brian Beacock yesterday, actually, and we went over that as well with the credits in terms of movies. And it's not your fault or anybody else's fault, because you're obviously crazy talented. It's because credits today, like we spoke about, are going real fast because today the mindset of a human being that watches things, it's like 10 seconds flip, 10 seconds flip. So unfortunately, some of the real important people in a cast, unless they're in the front, like the 5 top stars that go slow, nobody really wants to watch the credits. They want to get right to the bloopers in the end, right? They'll fast forward it on Netflix.
Or if it's TV show, they do a split screen and they show the promo for the next episode or the following week's show, and the credits are just kind of shrunk down. But I'm going to be really honest with you. I don't care. I don't care if anybody knows what I do. I don't care about seeing my name in credits.
Yeah.
I don't even watch my own work. I don't like watching my own work. No. I like doing it. I don't like viewing it.
Right. And if people don't understand the Bad Batch, I mean, congrats on that, because that is a extension of the Star Wars films, which I believe it's right after the Clone Wars. It's about a bunch of batch of kids, right? And being a part of that, I mean, you're a part of Disney, you're a part of Marvel. I mean, you're part of Star Wars, and your career just keeps going. And now I'm waiting for the day where I see like Bob Bergen Studios, right? The whole brand new car. And you're like, whoa, hold on, Don. Like, that's a lot of money right there. But I could see that because sometimes some of the greatest voice studios out there are created by the people who have built such a repertoire of great characters over the years. People turn and have trust in you, and they believe in you, and you have the elements that you could put something together like a Tyler Perry. I mean, it's possible. I mean, look at the people you have in the background of you right now. You have iconic people. Now, out of all those people back there, who's the one that has most influenced you on that wall that I'm seeing right now?
So interesting, that question. Every single one are artists that I admire, but for different reasons. Anthony Hopkins, just a brilliant actor. Robin Williams, a mind that nobody could match, a wit. And, Robin Williams, if you watch Aladdin, he's not the world's greatest mimic. He's such a brilliant performer. He's such his improvisational skills. Buster Keaton, just comedic genius. The Beatles above, I don't know if you can see them right now, but they're the Beatles. There's a lot of people up that aren't up there that I admire. I'm a big fan of talent. I'll tell you what every single one of these people possess is originality.
Yep.
Every single one of them were original. Nobody went in going, I want to be like so-and-so or emulating anybody. They went in and they pursued their career, their passion, their way. And they created, when you went to a Jimmy Stewart movie, it was always Jimmy Stewart, whether It's a Wonderful Life or It's a Western. And the same with Cat. And, to cut to today, where you've got like a Meryl Streep, who's a chameleon, or Sean Penn. There are some performers today who just morph into something that is beyond the realm of brilliance that I wish I could have 50% of that skill level. My all-time favorite actor on the planet is Jack Lemmon.
Wow.
To me, Jack Lemmon was the greatest actor ever on screen. I wish I'd seen him on stage. I never did.
Yeah, that's a great quote of his. I mean, when you're talking Meryl Streep, do you ever notice, and I've noticed this a lot, some of the greatest actors that you mentioned, they started out as comedians. And why I think they become the greats of Hollywood, it's very hard to do an 8-minute stand-up and make people laugh for that long. And that's a talent. And when you critique that talent and you're able to act, people don't even get that you can hit drama, you can hit this. And that's why I think comedians have such a great range of acting. And then most of them do become voice actors as well, because they can create so many great characters. And I agree with you. Meryl Streep, Jack, I mean, these are a lot of great actors that you're mentioning, which is amazing. Now, another show that you've been doing is pretty much Ridley Jones on Netflix, another great platform. you're on all platforms. God bless you. Tell me about this, because you're pretty much protecting the Museum of Natural History, correct, in this show?
Kind of, yeah.
I play Mr. Peabody, and Mr. Peabody runs a museum.
Right.
And he's very strict. He does not like those Jones people.
Yeah, it's a fun character. He's a comical villain.
Yeah.
And my sidekick, my co-star, whom I've never been in a studio with, is Jane Lynch. She plays Lonnie.
Wow.
And we have the most amazing on-screen chemistry, and that's because of an amazing voice director named Maria Estrada, a terrific writer-producer named Chris Neat, and whoever edits us together and makes us sound like we're in the same museum.
Right.
But it's a joy. It is so well written. It's great for kids. It is such a great show for kids.
Yeah, and you know what's great about when you say it's great for kids? I think one of the reasons why anime and cartoons have become so popular, they're finding a lot more adults now are more in tune to cartoons because they're making it more adult-like films that people could relate to. And anime is just taking on a whole new thing. Cartoons, like I'm from the Looney Tunes era. And I'm loving the fact that now Looney Tunes is on HBO Max and they're doing reruns. They're doing new ones. And right now, are you seeing a large majority of people now really becoming huge followers of Looney Tune characters that you have coined since Mel Blanc?
Yeah, I mean, my first job after Mel passed away was Tiny Toon Adventures. And the Tiny Toon characters were characters of their own, and they had the Looney Tunes, the classic tunes on the show. And what I was told behind the scenes was that if the Tiny Toon characters don't take off, then they can just make the Bugs Bunny show again. And the Tiny Toons characters were great. It took off. And I would do sporadic things here and there. I would say probably since we did the show Duck Dodgers many years ago, all of a sudden we went from show to movie. And this even Space Jam, which was before Duck Dodgers. We didn't do that much after Space Jam. But now, I mean, I'm doing several other Looney Tunes projects, which I can't talk about yet. And we're still in production on the HBO Max Looney Tunes cartoons.
Right.
So there's a lot of content out there. Look, here's the thing. Good is good. I mean, the HBO Max shows are well written. The character designs look like they came from the 40s. They've got full orchestras. The timing is amazing. They're gorgeous. Not everything I've done with this franchise, I could say, has been gorgeous.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff has been not my cup of tea. Some of it has been the writing is just as good, but they didn't have the budget for the orchestra or the full animation.
Yep.
But man, they're doing so much stuff with these characters now. And there's a generation that doesn't even know that they're based on a franchise from the 30s.
Yeah. And I have to agree with you on that because one of my most favorite things to watch, and this tells you my age, my mother used to take me to the Ground Round here in New York City. And they used to show the black and white films with no sound, no nothing, eating popcorn and the peanuts. And as a kid, I missed that so much because even though I like the voices, when you're a kid, you're able to kind of think about what they're saying and you become the character. And I think that was one of the coolest things about being a kid. Did you enjoy the black and white cartoons growing up as well with no voice?
Yeah, absolutely. I can remember when I was a kid, I grew up in St. Louis till I was about 8. And back in the late 60s, early 70s, the Marx Brothers had a resurgence.
Wow.
And I had some friends, my dad's friends would show in their basement, Roland Hardy and Buster Keaton and Charlie Chaplin and the Marx Brothers. And I was, of course, a cartoon fanatic when I was, but you know, you brought up a really good point about the visuals. One of the successful cartoons ever, and one of the best written cartoons ever was the Bullwinkle show, Rocky and Bullwinkle.
Oh my God, yeah.
Written by the guys that eventually created the Mary Tyler Moore Show and produced that show, and lots of great comps. Now, a kid in the late 50s, early 60s isn't going to understand that this is a satire on the Cold War. They're just looking at a talking moose and squirrel, and they're having a great time looking at those visuals. Their parents are going, oh, that is sophisticated humor.
Right.
Cartoons never made for kids. The Looney Tunes were made for adults.
That's right.
They were put in front of every Warner Brothers film. It wasn't until the late 40s, early 50s where television came to be. And they're like, we need content for kids. We got all these cartoons in the can. Let's just air those. And that's why we associate cartoons with children.
Yeah, and I agree with you on what you just said, because I seriously doubt Betty Boop was actually meant for children.
No.
Right? Am I right about that? Isn't that kind of weird if you think about that now? Betty Boop was a sex symbol among cartoons, and it's like, now that I think about it as an adult, because when you're a kid, you just see her as a cartoon, but as an adult, you read into her more. It's like, wait, rewind. Let's go back to that. Betty Boop was kind of like the girl everybody tried to get. I mean, do you agree on that?
Right. I agree 100%. And the other thing that, back in the 30s, 40s, 50s that nobody ever thought about is these cartoons will never be seen again. So we can get away with some stuff. We talked about this at a Looney Tunes session about a week ago.
Wow.
There was a cartoon with Elmer Fudd and a dog and a flea. And the flea was singing, "There'll be food around the corner, food around the corner." And he takes a bite of the dog's butt, and the dog starts running around the carpet, just kind of scratching his butt on the carpet, stops and looks at the camera, and he goes, "Boy, I better stop this. I may get to like it." And then does it again. Now, we know what that was in reference to.
Oh, yeah, it's a little subliminal right there.
But imagine the family waiting for, I don't know, the movie Robin Hood to start, and they got the kids, and that just happened, and they're like, they can't rewind it. They can't go to their DVR and go, what did he say? It'll never be seen again.
Oh, man. Yeah, that is, I can just imagine that. Just like, wow, Mom. It's like, that's when the kid starts asking questions, Mom. Was that foreplay that I just saw? I just kind of curious.
No, that was cleaning the carpet.
Pause. Now, I want to talk about something. I'm not sure if anybody's ever asked this, and it's pretty important. I didn't ask the other guys. When you do so many characters, that's got to play a role on your voice. That's got to do a lot of damage sometimes in the chords. Have you found yourself sometimes with so many characters that you do that sometimes your voice, you'll just lose it and you'll just lose your voice? Is there a training method that you do to keep your voice absolute exercise that a lot of these voice actors should know about? Because when I try to do like a Louis Armstrong voice, and I'll do it, I can't talk for like 2 minutes.
Of course.
Is there something that you do that helps you keep your voice in perfect shape? Because I'm sure you go through that a lot.
Well, the first thing I do is embrace the word no. I don't audition for games that look throaty. If it says battle cry, things like that, I'm not going to risk damaging my vocal cords for a game that I'm doing at 9 a.m. Knowing I don't know, a Toyota commercial at 2, and I need my voice. So I turn down a lot of stuff that looks pretty throaty. Mm-hmm. I will tell you that our voice directors are darn good. And if they know, like Porky screams quite a bit, with Daffy, he's screaming a lot. And our directors will say, we've got a director named Jack Fletcher, who does cartoons, who is just, as far as I'm concerned, one of the best director period, not just animation directors, just best directors on the planet. Mm-hmm. And he'll say, do you want to save this till the end? All good directors will, if they know there's a scream, will say, save it to the end. I will tell you that there are some things you just can't hold back, and you got to give it 110% if it's going to be authentic. I don't talk, if the phone rings, I don't pick it up. Unless it's, a name like, my agent or, a family member. But for the most part, I've got a voicemail. I can check it. And if it's somebody important, I'll call back. So I don't do a lot of talking in between and jobs. I am kind of weird in that when I wake up in the morning, I've got as strong a voice at 5 a.m. as I will at 5 p.m.
Wow.
I'm lucky that way.
Yeah.
get a lot of work done before the sun comes up because I've got agents in New York who need their auditions in by 9 a.m. your time, and that's 6 a.m. my time.
Right.
And I'm not a person. But I think the most important thing is you need to use your voice to find out what does cause irritation and what doesn't. And there is a difference between pain and strain. You know, oftentimes we use our voice and it just feels kind of tight and tired and strained. And then sometimes you do a sound and you take a sip of water, it feels like battery acid going down. You never want to make that sound again because you don't want to get nodules on your vocal cords.
Right.
I did a film years ago called Fright Night 2. And the voice of all the vampires dying. They got they got shot in the heart with a wooden stake and they'd scream. And I lost my voice for weeks after that film. Went to the doctor, got scoped, and I had just come this close to causing a hemorrhage on my vocal cords.
Wow.
So the doctor gave me just a laundry list of things to do. Voice rest, obviously, no whispering, no gargling, nothing with mint or menthol, nothing drying, steaming 3 or 4 times a day, antacid 3 or 4 times a day, just in case I get acid reflux. It's not causing more damage to an already damaged vocal cord. And I got my voice back in 12 hours. Now, was it that or was it timing? I don't know, and I don't care. I got my voice back. I think people just need to be aware of what their limitations are. My buddy Fred Tatasciore, who does the Hulk, and he does Yosemite Sam. He's got a deal. He can do things for an extended period of time that I could never do, but we're all different.
Yeah. Now, when that happened to you, did you have a moment that you were just scared as hell because this is your full career happening and you just lost your voice? And it's like, okay, if my vocal cords are down, is there another job that you always wanted to do that could have been a backup plan? Because you always have to have a backup, right? A plan B, because we always know that actors could be doing good one year, no jobs the next year, right? And that happens in all careers. A lawyer can have cases, and then the next day they lose one case and nobody wants to hire him anymore. So if you were to lose your voice, and God willing, you'll never do, because like Rob Paulson, he had cancer, but we found out that was a blessing to him because it took him on a new path to a lot more roles. And we spoke about that the negative brings out a positive if we looked at that in a brighter light. So would there be a plan B? At that moment, did you actually think about that?
Nope. Nope. I never went to college.
Yeah.
My first voiceover class at 14, got my first agent and job at 18, spent 5 years with survival jobs to pay the bills, working occasionally. Every job I made in voiceover, I banked. So when it was time to leave the last survival job, I had 2 years of savings to live off of. And I thought, I'm going to give it 2 years.
Wow.
And if it doesn't happen in 2 years, I'll figure something else out. And I got fortunate. I got lucky. But Todd, I mean, this is my 40th year in the business.
Yeah, congrats on that. That's amazing.
Thank you. But we've had strikes.
Yep.
I've had shows canceled.
Yep.
There have been boots, and I've not been asked to be a boot. That's showbiz. You know, that's just the nature of this business. But I went into this business choosing it. I didn't go into this business feeling I deserved anything.
Right.
I wanted to earn a career, and I've not had a survival job in years, but I've never thought of myself being above ever needing another survival job. I've just been fortunate that I haven't had to.
Yeah, and I love that you just said that. And how important is it, now you're bringing it up, to let all actors know of all industries of being an actor, how important it is to really invest and save your money and possibly get into other things because of what you just said? How important is that?
It's important for every human being on the planet. Live below your means. Save as much as you possibly can. You know, I started saving from the very first dollar I earned, and I still do. I still put away more and invest more than I spend. But that's good advice for anybody in any business. My 5 years of survival jobs, I was mostly a tour guide at Universal Studios, but I worked 5 days, 7 nights a week for 5 years. I was a mall Santa Claus for 5 holiday seasons. I mean, I just did anything to make a buck so I could pursue professional acting professionally. And the work I do pays residuals. So even on a slow month, I've got money coming in from jobs I did 40 years ago, sometimes pennies, but sometimes substantial.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you pretty much set up your ROI and invested in your voice. You know, if people don't know that, and that's return on investment, meaning that he worked his ass off. He got the right gigs by working his ass off, but you also had side gigs on the, you know, on the side, obviously. And I always tell people there's a reason why they have a phrase starving artists. Those are the artists that are trying to build money off their passion, but they're not working a job. And it's like, how can you pursue your passion if you don't have money coming in? So I always tell people, work hard on the side until your passion pays your bills. And once you did that, that's why I'm glad you said that, is because now you're doing an ROI, investing in yourself so others can invest in you. And now, even if you have a dead month, because of the work you've done, you have the right contracts in place, you have the right reps in place, you have the right management in place, that if something goes down, you are safe to know that, okay, I still got money coming in. It's maybe not as much as I want, but I've earned the right to get that paycheck every day, which is...
Yeah, one of the most common questions I get from actors is, how do I know it's time to quit the day job and concentrate 100% on acting or voice acting? And my answer is always, when your voice acting organically overtakes your day job. For me, I was fired from Universal Studios as a tour guide because I had 32 sick days my last year because I was working more as a voice actor than I was as a tour guide. And like every actor, I was terrified of leaving the stability of a 9-to-5. And they called me into the office and they said, we have to let you go. And I said, well, wait, what if the voiceover stuff stops? And they said, well, then you can come back. But we can't afford to keep you if you're going to call in sick every other day.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. So, but that was the best. It was like, you know, mama bird kicking me out of the nest, because that's when I realized I've got 2 years of living expenses. I've got 2 years of rent. I've got 2 years of car payments. I made health benefits by being a working actor. So that was taken care of. I was like, I can do this. So that was in 1987. And I bought my first condo in 1990. So that allowed me, Todd, to not just audition on occasion and book on occasion. That allowed me to spend 27 hours a day pursuing the craft and the business of voiceover.
And I love it. And that's such an amazing story. And this is some of the stuff I want my audience to hear as well, because the millennials today, they're on a different wavelength than we are. We're from the blue collar era. We didn't have social media. So I think people rely on social media sometimes to expand their career and get in a job. It's like, no, at the end of the day, I just put out a quote, learn from the old school because it's hard work that gets you the job. Social media is just an added free marketing tool to have. It's not there to get you a job.
That's such a great point. People can get a wonderful amount of PR in social media that actors before used to spend, $5-10 grand a month on a publicist to get the same amount of visibility.
Yep.
I tell my voiceover students, I worked my ass off to get to where I'm at, and I work 10 times harder to stay here.
Yeah, and I love that you said that. As we're getting to the end, I do want to ask, you had a lot of jobs. You were a host, a voiceover actor, you're a teacher now. Out of all the jobs that you have and that you're doing right now, what do you find is the most credible to your career and the most passionate to what you do on a daily basis?
Oh, rephrase that. I'm not quite sure what you mean.
Pretty much what I'm saying is, out of the things that you're doing right now, what are you most passionate about that you love doing every single day?
Oh, buddy. I mean, I'm going to quote Jack Angel, who was a brilliant voice actor who passed away last year.
Right.
And Jack had a wonderful saying, voiceover, it beats working for a living. I mean, I get the same butterfly giddy excitement with a job. I mean, since COVID, I'm working from home, and I don't think I'm going to a studio again. There's no reason to. But when I used to drive on to Warner Brothers or Disney, and I would go, wow, look what I get to do. Every time I go into that booth in my office and I'm working on a Netflix show, a Marvel show, a Disney Plus show, a Warner Brothers show, I am the giddy, 18-year-old doing his first cartoon for NBC. I'm no different. I just that much love what I do. Every once in a while, you'll do a job that does not float your boat as much creatively as others. But it's rare. There are certain genres of voiceover I don't do. I don't do audiobooks. I think I'd rather watch a grapefruit grow from a seed than record an audiobook. It doesn't fulfill me creatively. I only do stuff that fulfills me creatively. You'd be surprised that if I booked a hemorrhoid commercial for Preparation H, that would fulfill me creatively. I love what I do.
Yeah, it's funny. I was talking with Stanley Livingston. We actually spoke about, hey, Todd, would you do a Preparation H commercial? And I was like, yeah, I can knock that thing out of the park. I was like, Preparation H. I'm like, the cream for your ass.
Listen, hey, I got to tell you, a national Preparation H commercial that's going to pay you high 5 figures, happily.
Yeah, I'm like, come on, guys, I got hemorrhoids. Bring on the money.
Dude, I'll do the voice of the hemorrhoid. I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled to do stuff like that.
Okay, I got to put you on the spot. What would the voice of a hemorrhoid sound like? I'm going to give you.
You need to eat some pudding. You need to eat something that's just maybe a little mineral oil would help. But right now, I gotta tell you, oh, this is not good. This is, oh my gosh, I got a friend. What are you doing here?
I'm just the other hemorrhoid. I wasn't here a second ago, and all of a sudden I popped up and I went, wow, this place is dark.
I know, it's terrible, isn't it? And by the way, it doesn't smell too good either.
I was going to mention.
Oh man, that was
you got 2 hemorrhoids for the price of 1.
I love it. I love it.
By the way, that's the first time in my life I think I've ever voiced a hemorrhoid for or not for money.
Well, hopefully Preparation Ace can see that, because that is a funny ad if they ever put that up to have a voice. I mean, they do it for mucus. Why not do it for a hemorrhoid, right? So,
there you go.
There you go.
From one end to the other. We're all-purpose voiceover actors.
Exactly. Bob, congratulations on such a great career. 3 shows you have going on right now. And of course, obviously the stuff you have coming up with the NDAs that we cannot talk about.
Right.
Where is the best place that people that you prefer to follow you on, or even look at your work so they can find out more and more what you're doing?
My Instagram's really popular, bergen.bob. And if you're interested in voiceover, I got free tips that I'm doing there. I'm on Twitter at Bob Bergen. I'm the easiest person in the world to find. I think most voiceover actors are. So Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, my website, it's easy to find me.
I love it. Bob, thank you for being on FaceTime with Todd Wharton. It was such a pleasure to talk to you and learn about what you're doing today. And I look forward to seeing everything that you have coming out in the near future, sir.
All the hemorrhoids and everything in between.
So Bob, first and foremost, thanks for being a guest on FaceTime with Todd Wharton, and congratulations on over 40 years in this industry, on giving us such great voices as Porky Pig, Tweety, and more and more and more. And I think Mel Blanc would be proud of all the work that you've done and that you're going to do. So guys, if you want to learn more, you guys know all about how to find Bob. Go to his Instagram, Bob Bergen. But until then, it's the winter time. I want everybody to be safe, stay warm, and always remember, if you're not living a passionate life, then whose life are you living? Take care, everyone. I'll see you soon.
He is the most interesting man in the world.
I'm not always on YouTube, but when I am, I make sure I'm subscribed to FaceTime with Todd Wharton. Be thirsty, my friends.